What's up, everybody? It's a late night update here on the 15th of June. Feels more like, I don't know what, like November outside. Pretty crazy. Temperatures out there right now are only in the 50s. And of course, it's still raining. We don't really see any break in this rain until maybe for the weekend. It's going to be a rainy week. And I want to start off by kind of showing you the areas that were hit the hardest here over the past 12 hours or so, and really over the past 24 hours, just making sure everybody's online, and I see some folks there, so that's a good thing. All right, so what's going on right now is you can see lots of moisture pivoting in from the east, but again, we're going to look back a little bit and talk about last night, because I had a lot of people tell me what it was like last night up in Roanoke and northern Franklin County here, in the Botetourt County and western Bedford County. This was last night. This is Doppler estimated rainfall. And the brighter colors here show where we had about 2.5 to as much as 5 inches of rain. Yeah, 5 inches of rain last night, particularly near the Franklin County border, South Roanoke here. Had a lot of rainfall. And it's just reset here, so I got to go back to today. There we go. But you can see that that extended all the way in the Roanoke. And actually, I had a report coming in from this area, Roanoke City, several reports from Vinton of just a deluge of rain. It's literally like a bucket was poured out of the sky. You remember me showing you those rainfall rates. They were up around 3 to 4 inches per hour. So this was intense stuff. Now, had it fallen on ground that was already saturated, we would have had some tremendous problems. We still had some flooding in the area, but it could have been a lot worse, believe it or not. That's because the ground was starting out a little drier, and it's actually not quite as moist as it could be. But right now we are starting to see a lot of soil moisture because of what's happening. But if you look at the daily anomaly here, I know it's a little hard to see. It's actually a little bit above normal by about 40 to 50%. We've certainly seen worse. It's more of a North Carolina, South Carolina thing right now. But that's why you don't see any flash flood watches or flood watches just yet. This is how much. Let's see if I go to 1 hour here. This is how much, and we calculate this. River forecast centers calculate this and figure out how much rain can we take before we see flash flooding. Not urban flooding or anything like that. We're talking about the flash flooding where streams and creeks come out of their banks. And actually, in 1 hour, we can still get, like, let's take Roanoke, for instance. You can still have about 1 to 2 inches of rain per hour until it floods. But once you get up to that amount, once you get up to about 1 to 1.5 inches, it's going to start flooding within an hour based on that. But if you get to, like, let's take tonight, for instance, where we're expecting maybe 1/2 inch of rain, maybe up to 0.75 inches of rain. Over the next, that's 12 hours. Let me go to, over the next 12 hours, we can still take up to about 2.5 to, well, in Roanoke, up to about 2 inches of rain. So we're within, still the threshold of not seeing the flash flooding. It doesn't happen until we start to exceed these numbers here. And the numbers are lower throughout the NRV, through Bland County and Giles County, where if you get up to about 1 inch of rain, you're going to start to see within 12 hours some flash flooding out there. So those are numbers that we look at, kind of the math behind the scenes that we do. Really, the River Forecast Center does that in conjunction with the National Weather Service offices, and they figure out, okay, how much rain can we take before we get some problems. You can see here over the past hour, we've only had about 1/10 of an inch of rain to maybe up to 1/4 of an inch, but it's a very steady rain. You look at the past 6 hours here. Let's just look at today. So you can see that Lynchburg, it rained all day today in central Virginia, and you've had upwards of about 2 inches of rain today, but it's been falling over an extended period of time, and that's very reminiscent of the last event we had late in May last month, when we were dealing with about the same thing, almost about the same time in the month. This is about 3 weeks later, 3.5 weeks later or so. Lesser amounts as you get across the NRV, but you had some rain in Pulaski, I know, over the past 24 hours as well. But we're looking at the rain that moved in this morning. And Halifax County got a good amount of rain. South Boston did around 1 to 2 inches, it looks like. Down across Pennsylvania County, we've already had about an inch, inch and a half of rain, closer to 2. Franklin County, we've seen about 0.75 to down to 0.5. I've had about 0.53 here at the station, so that correlates very well. If you factor in the past 24 hours here, and even the past couple of days, you can see that spike that we had across the area last night in the Roanoke County here. And again, that's upwards of 5 to 6 inches of rain over the past couple of days. So over an extended amount of time, it is very impressive. But if you look at some of the weather stations today, you can see 0.83 near Forest and 0.56 in Glenver. This is off of Weather Underground, which I hope the site stays up. They've had to slash there. Unfortunately, they've had to slash a lot of jobs there. So, but anyway, we've still got the site up and running here, and you can see through the Roanoke Valley area. This is today's rainfall. Again, a good steady rain. If your gardens needed some rain, you got it today. Amounts, again, around a ½ an inch to about an inch, inch and a half has pretty much done it. Now, over the next couple of days, this is what the River Forecast Center is expecting here. And you can see Virginia right here. So we're in the yellow. We've got a lot of rain coming here. This will fall over, again, a steady pace, we think. But if we see a downpour, we could see some problems. But we're looking at another 1.5 to maybe 3 inches of rain over the next couple of days. So that's going to be something to watch here very closely. And this is the culprit. I've been talking about this for a while. This is the upper level low that, if you look at it over the last 7 days, has moved due south out of Ohio. A lot of blocking has been going on this year, at least this spring and now this summer. We didn't have any of it in the winter, and now we're getting it now. That's why it's so chilly outside. But this would have been a great snowy pattern for us if we would have had this happen in January. I digress, but you can see the low there. It's now over North Carolina, continuing to dive south. This is just a closer look, by the way, at where that really heavy rain was yesterday. And I mean, it was torrential. Unless you were in it, it's hard to describe. I've been in rain that heavy before. It's scary. It's almost impossible to drive in it because you're driving, literally, it feels like you're driving through water. It's incredible. But that spike right there in Boone's Mill is over 5 inches. And that was falling about this time. Well, about 8:30 last night, it was falling like that. The radar beam gets blocked through here, so these are likely higher amounts. But again, through Blue Ridge and Vinton, there was some very, very heavy rainfall. All right, so the here and the now. Here's the radar picture. This is off the SIMU AWIP, so this is the more technical look at the radar. But the rain is not too heavy. Again, it's falling at a very, very light to moderate pace. It picks up a little bit as you get toward Appomattox County and Campbell County, and it's all kind of swirling around this low. Look at the low here on the water vapor picture. You can see the counterclockwise moisture, and you can also see, let me get my Instagram folks over here so they can see it. You can see the orange there on the back side of that. That's the drier air, but it just so happens with this particular low, the way it's situated and the way the moisture just happens to pan around it, we are in the moist part of that for tonight. So it's going to remain rainy overnight tonight and into Wednesday. And Tuesday and Wednesday as well. You can also see here, this is mid-level moisture. This is a good rain-making amount of moisture. So when you get the yellows on this particular map and getting to the browns, you start to see a lot of rainfall, at least some decent moisture for rain. And you can see how its counterclockwise swirl brings in more of that moisture. And then as you go aloft to about 18,000 feet, the individual spokes of energy are rotating around the low. So yeah, we can see the low there in the green contour, but within that low, these are the areas that usually will dictate exactly where your areas of rain develop. And again, this is just hit or miss. My mom is up visiting my sister up in the panhandle of West Virginia, and she asked about what time would be best to come home tomorrow and dodge the rain. And I told her it's a matter of luck. It may not let up any, but dependent on where exactly these little areas want to pick the moisture up and where that moisture wants to interact with the low that's already out there, the existing moisture, it makes a big difference in the forecast, and you really just have to nowcast this kind of stuff. Here is a look at the water vantage point of the radar here. And I'll go ahead and let that load. You can see the lightning we've got off the coast. That was our front. This has not been a good week to go to the beach at all. It's ended up being a pretty crummy week, really, and that's why I didn't go. Normally about this time of the year I'd be going, but we didn't go this year. I do need to get away, I think, at some point. But anyway, a lot not going to happen this week because I know what the forecast is doing to me here. It looks like the radar data just wanted to go away there too. There it comes back. Okay. And I'm going to pop the temperatures up here. So you can see that we've only had a high of 63 today in the Roanoke Valley. I think that's one of our coldest highs we've ever had. Temperatures remain in the 50s even right now. And the visibilities are poor, so be advised of that if you're out traveling tonight. Really just some lighter rain across the mountains, but we continue to see, get rid of the temp, so you can continue to see the rain that redevelops back here into North Carolina. But there is some drier air. Here's the dew points. And they should plop on here in just a second. There we go. There is some drier air to the north. Now this for tomorrow is going to try to get into northern Virginia. Whether or not it can do so will probably be seen, but it may get up to about I-64 and cut off the precip there. But areas, Roanoke, Lynchburg, south, will still have a good chance of rain. I'm going to let this loop. This is the past 5 hours. And this is on a more regional scale, so you get a better idea of where the rain's headed for the rest of the night. You can see that one band over us was pretty intense in terms of moderate rain today. It held its own. It really didn't break apart any, and it's thinning a little bit. There's more rain upstream, so it looks like our precipitation may be propagating south with time tonight. We'll wait and see on that because, again, that could all change, and again, areas of showers will continue to on and off again develop in our forecast. The UK Met model, which again, I want to emphasize the second most accurate here. We take you to through the day, and I'm going to show you total precip now. So this is additional moisture. So this is into tonight. We get another quarter to a half inch of rain. And then for Tuesday, we start to see the amounts really total up here throughout Tuesday with some heavier rainfall possible in spots. And that could get us up to another 0.75 to 1 inch in there once you get to an inch on this particular map here at red. And then for Tuesday night, yet more rain. So again, this is a cumulative total here. That's why you're seeing the numbers there get, the colors get brighter. But the key idea is that there's no real let up in this. And so there is going to be concern for river flooding as we go through the next few days because of just the fact that the ground's going to get, even more saturated. You're going to put more rain on top of that, and it's going to have a, easier time running off into the tributaries of the rivers out there. So they're going to start to respond. They probably already have, and they'll continue to respond throughout the week. And whether they exceed flood stage, exactly where, will be determined by how much more rain falls this week. And the rate at which it falls will determine the flash flooding. If we can get all this, and this is, we're going on about 2 to now 3 to 4 inches of rain for the rest of the week. This is through Friday, by the way. With more rain possible maybe Saturday, but it should become more scattered. But we'll get it over a several-day period. We'll hold the flash flooding problems down to a minimum, we think. But the river flooding could, again, be an issue, kind of like it was back in May. And, again, you can see this is why. This is the upper level low off the Euro from today. It sits in place. You've also got what's keeping this low from moving north is this area of high pressure that is sitting here across the Great Lakes and is really strong for this time of the year. Even for June, but it's sitting here over Montreal, and it's keeping this upper low in a Rex block formation. So you've got a clockwise flow around the high like that. You've got counterclockwise around the low, so it's the figure 8 block. And again, that's just like what we had back in May. Low's going to lift north, so I think for tomorrow, and the Euro is heading on this just a few days ago, but I think for tomorrow we may see the heaviest rain shift into North Carolina for Tuesday. We can still see rain, but the heaviest may be south of us. But it's going to be temporary because as we go into Wednesday, the actual low itself will move further north, and then the individual spokes within that will probably form some moderate to maybe even heavy rain for Wednesday. So Wednesday may be a day to watch, even more than tomorrow, I think, for flooding. Any additional rain tomorrow just kind of adds to it. And then for Thursday, too, we need to watch for heavier rain as the actual center of the low will be overhead. It's going to fill and open up. That means it'll weaken somewhat because it's driven by the cold air that's right over top of it. And that air will modify because it's June. So that slowly weakens this thing. And when we say fill it in, that's what we're talking about. The temperatures aloft will warm some. And as it warms, its height contours will raise themselves up to near the jet stream, and we'll see this thing get taken along. And that's what happens by the end of the weekend. There's still evidence of it here, even as early as Sunday. So, we'll see. Maybe some just pop-up showers by that point. But in the meantime, it does look fairly wet. This is the look at the rainfall forecast. Again, it's a little bit closer in through Thursday and the Friday. Through Thursday night anyway. This is a Schref blend, 1 to 2 to 2.5, and that's a blend. So within that, you're going to have some 3-inch amounts. Most areas will see another 2 inches of rain probably. If you look at the ARW blend, I lost my browser. Let me go back and go to West Virginia. All right, and we'll go to precip total and take you on through. You can see higher amounts within that average that I just showed you here. So this shows up to 3 inches near the spine of the mountains, and that looks reasonable. I think some areas are going to probably see more than 5 or 6 inches for the rest of the week. But again, it's not going to fall within like it did last night. It's cooler now. The air can't hold as much water in that cooler air, and because of that, our precipitable water values are only around 1 inch, which is high. You see it there shaded in green, but it's at the low end of the high scale, if that makes any sense. A bad flash flooding event occurs when we've got available moisture at 2.5 inches or so, up to 4 inches I've seen in the summertime. But the cool temperatures have kept us in both events from getting the severe flash flooding, with the exception of last night. But again, that could have been a lot worse. So I've got rain in the forecast through, let's see, Wednesday, Thursday. Finally, we may see a peak or two of sun, but any sun is going to create showers and pop-up thunderstorms. And I'll show you that here. I think I just got the 0-0 run of the NAM in, so we'll show you what I'm talking about. This is tonight. This is tomorrow. More rain develops. You see how areas just redevelop here. You can see all the heavier rain down in North Carolina. But, there's some decent rain that pops up by the afternoon tomorrow. So we'll have to watch that. And that could be more over the mountainous areas, even though everybody gets rain, really. But where is the heavy rain is always my question. Tuesday night, more areas of rain. It could be on and off, but it could be heavier in the Wednesday. And again, Wednesday could be a day to watch. The dynamics look a little more impressive, and the rain echoes look a bit harder here. It's hinting at some elevated convection, which would mean some localized downpours possible. Then as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday, you've got more of the same here, really. But notice the coverage kind of dissipates a little bit, and it becomes more showery. So it'll become more showery after Wednesday. We've got 2 days left of the real steady rain, and then beyond that, we're going to start to see a hint of sunshine in between some showers, I think, Thursday. But it won't be totally clear until probably Sunday. There'll probably be a few clouds left over Friday and Saturday, but still partly sunny to end out this week and go into the weekend. But there'll be some pop-up showers within that partly sunny for a couple of days until we can completely, it's a process. We got to completely get it out of here before that can happen. Well, that's your update for right now. I'll leave you with a look at the radar. And again, there you see the heavier rain south of Lynchburg and more showery stuff in the Roanoke. And it's coming in out of the east. That's why it's so cold outside for right now. More of that on the way tomorrow. Should be lighter tomorrow. And then the heavier rain arrives again Wednesday. Take care, everybody.